Hi everybody. My name is Soazic Guezennec. I am a French artist and I've been living in Mumbai for 4 years. This is my 5th year now, just starting. I was trained as a painter in Paris, in the Beaux-Arts School in Paris, but I now use all kinds of media to express whatever I want to express. I've been working on the same subject for more than 10 years now, which is the relationship between man and nature. I started to work on this subject after a trip I did in Africa. I've crossed Africa for 1 year from north to south, mainly camping, and I was sleeping in a tent, and I had to fetch wood to boil the water, which I had to filter from the ponds very often, which made me sick. But all this completely changed my vision of nature and on life in general, I would say, because I realized how precious, how vulnerable nature was. And living in a city, I was completely disconnected from all this kind of thing. And being in the wild for 1 year in Africa completely changed my vision of the things. So when I came back from Africa, I started to create images where I mixed photography I made in Africa with photography I was doing in Europe of the city. And I merged those two universes, the city and nature, creating utopian world where nature would invade the city. So those pictures look quite utopian. And I started to advertise them in the city using billboards to make them real. So I've been working on this for quite a while, and when I came to Mumbai 4 years ago, it was a real shock for me because I had the impression that I was going into one of my images. I had nature and the city, those two very powerful, going together. But the surprise for me was that it has nothing to do with the harmony and peaceful world I wanted to create with my images. It was something which I thought quite violent. It's a battle. You have this very powerful nature, very resilient, which fights with a very powerful city, which is always trying to gain some space. And this battlefield became my main research since I'm in Bombay. I'll try to find the signs of the borders, I would say, between nature and the city wherever I go in Bombay. So now I'm going to present you one project I did in Mumbai last year, which is the result of this research. It's called Happy Owners. One of the first things I've noticed when I came to Mumbai was those huge billboards you could see on the highway or wherever you go in the city, advertising for real estate projects. You see them everywhere. And what I thought was very interesting is that how they use the concept of nature city the concept of nature to sell all those huge towers. So I started to write all those slogans I could find on the billboards. Feel the rich tradition of nature's bounty come alive. The blissful aura of nature encircling new lifestyle. The earth laughs in flowers, I like this one. Set against majestic green hills. All this, I've copied them from real estate advertisements, seeing in Bombay. And I was seeing this when I was on my rickshaw on the Western Express Highway, and I was seeing at the same time all the constructions, the traffic, the pollution, and the contrast between the two was so huge. I decided to think, what if this was true? What if whatever they say here, whatever they were trying to sell could become true? So I decided to use all those slogans and to design architectural projects which would illustrate those slogans and to create a real estate office which would sell those projects. Okay, so anyway, I started to take those slogans to design architectural projects. I used the same name as I was finding. So some of them I invented. And all what you can read here comes from real estate catalog. So you have Cascade Grandeur, Lose Yourself in Nature. This building is from Andheri. And I don't know if you can read here, but come to Water Cascade to experience life like never before. With the Crystal Creek on one side and the forest on the other, welcome to the city's most premium address, and so on. This one is a Termite Mountain, very exclusive. And for each project, as you can see, I have happy owners, because of course, this makes you very happy. The beauty of nature is here. This one I like. I haven't invented anything. The entry experience to magic mushrooms will excite your senses and be a pleasant delight for your body and soul. As an inhabitant of this wonderful place, you will find yourself at the center of a wonderful world of its own. Even the surrounding lush greenery will create a fairy tale world of unruffled royalty, contributing to your transformation. Let the serene space serve as a getaway to the hidden world inside you. Feel the rich tradition of nature's bounty, come alive and soothe your mind, body, and soul in absoluteness. I really thought that this deserved a crazy project like this one, because how can you say things like that to cell towers? So for each project, the idea is how to make those projects real, because of course it's completely imagination. So I decided to open a real estate office, which would use the same language, the same communication language as any real estate office. So I don't know if you know the place called Studio X. For 1 month, I opened a real estate there with the posters, with flyers, with catalogs, with videos. Each of the projects here have videos, which I'm going to show you. I had a salesman informing people about all the projects. People could choose a location of where they wanted to live. I have a website. I have a business card on which I'm the CEO of the company, which makes my parents very happy once. And I was really trying to make a parody of a real estate office. So this is a place. This is how it looked like. And the project still has the support of Columbia, the Architectural School of Columbia University in New York. And I made a presentation. They've edited this book, which I'm showing you. So as I told you, the idea was to really make a parody of a professional corporate environment. This is also moving right now in India in 8 different cities. And I have all the images on a DVD I can send to the gallery, and I asked them to open the agency with whatever professional corporate furniture they have. So they can print all the posters, the flyers, the business card, everything, the videos, they can show the video, and just open the real estate office as they want to open it. So as I was telling you, I gave everybody stickers, so people could choose the location of where they wanted to stay. And of course, most people choose to be in the branches of the highest branches of the tree. And they all got a small diploma of happy owners after they left. So all projects had flyers that people could also take away. I have a website, and the idea of the website was to really create a community. I would love people to connect to the website. If you want to do that, I would love it. To connect to the website and even to add some ideas, because the whole point of this is how to make people react and how to make them think about the city they want to live in. And the more proposals the project would get, I think the better it is and the bigger it can become, and why not influence the reality? That would be great. So I also started with this. This one was in Ahmedabad. I was also doing this in France. I advertised a poster using billboards in the city. And it's very interesting to see how people react to something quite absurd, because this is absurd, of course. And most of the people actually don't realize, which means we are so used to see crazy things that marketing is pushing to us, that when you see something, it becomes very difficult to do something different, actually. So I'm going to show you a few videos of the project. The guy is not committing suicide. Huh? Everybody thinks he's just jumping. So I have one video of this for each project, and they are shown in the real estate office on either projected on the wall or on television, just same way as you see in any real estate office. So one more thing I had in the real estate office is what I call an experiment center. For most real estate projects, you have the possibility to visit flats, which show you how it will be in the building. So it's not a flat, but it's kind of a model of a building, which would perfectly fit into subjective architecture reality, which makes industrial objects, which I found, those oil tank, with real plants and moss, which I made with thermocol. I also had this in the real estate office, which is a tree made out of oxygen mask. Okay, and those are, I've also documented, so there is one part of the project, which is the real estate office, which is the thing which is going to travel. But I also think it's interesting to see the whole process of which led me to this kind of thing. I told you this is a result of 3 years in Bombay where I have really made a lot of photography, collected newspaper articles, made a lot of sketches, and I've decided to also show this whole process which help people understand how this idea can emerge. And also, I also think it gives more consistency to the project to see all kind of thinking you can have to get to this. So I have a series of photography which I call construction center sites. So all those are photography I made in Bombay. This was actually the view from my building. And I think it looks like hell. And I really love this one, which it looks like, I don't know if you're familiar with the artist Christo, who is packing monuments and not only monuments, he packed monuments, but he packed also some cliffs, some islands using fabrics. He's an amazing artist. And this would look like a trash crystal completely. I find Bombay very inspiring. This was also the view from my building, but from the other side. This part is called the studio. This is what I was talking to you about, which shows all the material I've collected for 3 years with sketches, drawings, articles. When I did them, I never thought I would show them. I didn't think I'm going to make a piece and show this. It's really the process of creation where I've collected a lot of things, and it's the fact that putting them together which makes them interesting, I think. So this is the whole start of the project. Again, this is a view from my building when I came 4 years ago, and a few months later, this is what I was seeing. I didn't know, but they started to build 12 towers of 50 floors each. So if you calculate, this is a whole city just in front of my window. I like the fact that this whole has the shape of a heart. And at the same time, this is the advertisement I could see on billboards all over the city saying, be part of the secret. I was really part of the secret. And I wasn't happy about it. And it was so noisy. I started to document this whole. This is the only time where I wouldn't hear the noise, where I was in front of my window and draw the whole day after day, which was changing, and with the trees, being cut. And so it's like the story of a whole of the building starting. So this is also, I've collected a lot of catalog. One funny thing is I started to visit a lot of real estate fairs because I needed material. So I was going in all those exhibition centers where everybody is going to buy flats. So I had to pretend that I was going to buy, but I'm not Indian. And I don't know if you know that, but we can't buy, as foreigners can't buy properties here unless they are married to Indians. So I was married to an Indian. I was pretending I was married to an Indian. And people were very inquisitive, so I had a whole story about who was my husband, what he was doing. And only then they accepted to talk to me about their property and give me the catalogs. But it takes so long time, so much time every time. So now I'm very aware of the real estate market. And I managed to have those catalogs and to cut all those images and to transform them. So the idea of this book also, as you saw in the page before, there is my vision of the thing where I transform the building into mushroom. And there is the other page where I just let them blank for people to imagine themselves. What would you do? What would you like the building to look like? And so this is also, maybe it doesn't really make sense, but this is a kind of thing I'm collecting. I take inspiration from nature. I don't know if you know what biomimicry is. It's a science which consists in observing nature to solve human problems. And it becomes very, very strong nowadays. A lot of people are observing nature to design new architecture, for example, but also in textile or in science, in robotics. They look at how animals are moving to trying to reproduce it in the reality. It's called biomimicry, and it's very, very strong in architecture. The Termite Mountain I showed you before actually has been really designed by an architect in Zimbabwe. It doesn't look like a termite mountain, but they took inspiration from the way the gallery inside the mountains are built, make the temperature inside constant without the need to use AC. And you have so many things to learn from nature like that, to implement it in the reality and to make a lot of, to save a lot of energy. This one is real. I found it in my building. They were removing it from the board and I asked the guy to keep it. I'm happy I saw it only after they removed it because I have a son and I wouldn't have been happy to see this before. Leopard on sprawl in nearby area. Do not send your children for playing in garden. And this is real. This is a reality in Bombay, which I think is really amazing. Is vertical building the solution to space crisis? I'm not sure. So this was a whole exhibition. I also organized a workshop because the whole idea, as I told you, was to make people, I prefer say dream than think or imagine. So I gave everybody a questionnaire asking them to design their own city inspired by nature. I have one for you. So after we finish talking, I'd love you to answer this questionnaire and imagine a city. It can be very simple. Imagine a city which would be inspired by nature. Try to find a name for it and a slogan, because I miss slogan. So I did this workshop with all kind of population, kids and adults. And it's quite funny to see how kids are very, very free in the way they imagine, much more than adults. And this one, which I call the battlefield, was a very simple installation with a map of Mumbai and those small soldiers which I've transformed using artificial moss. So the city was facing nature and I let the kid make the whole strategy and decide which city they would like for the future. The kids loved it. I'm not sure the strategy was very sustainable, but they loved it. So that's it. That's the Happy Owners project. And now you can become happy owners.